Welcome to Hibberd Health. I have a very interesting guest here today, Bo Karlicki. He's here to share his knowledge about LYSINE and its effect on COVID-19. Bo, a lot of people are really interested in hearing what you have to say, so please tell us about LYSINE and its effect on COVID-19.
Good afternoon, Dr. Hibberd. Thank you for having me. I must say I'm not a medical professional, so I wanted to share this experience, and thank you for giving me this avenue to do so. LYSINE's been used since the late 1970s, discovered by Dr. Kagan in relation to cold sores and lysine treatment. Lysine is an antiviral. It displaces arginine. So since then, millions of people have used lysine successfully to suppress cold sores. I myself am one of those people, and I was lucky enough to use lysine for numerous other things. I was very surprised that sometimes a cough would disappear with a lysine dose. So fast forward to 2020, the coronavirus came out. I was following very closely all the information I can get, and I started researching myself, and I found a 2016 study on lysine glycine inhibiting viral replication in the MERS coronavirus. This was all I needed, and I ordered a bunch of lysine. Thankfully, it came in before the country shut down. And as what happened to me was late March, I caught the virus and had great success suppressing the symptoms. My suffering threshold was extremely controlled. I actually tell people I suffered about 20 hours out of 3 weeks of total treatment time. There was one night where I drank a cup of coffee, and let me tell you, do not drink coffee with COVID. That was very scary. But for 3 weeks, 20 hours of suffering was minuscule. So I presented all this information to friends, families, coworkers. I spread the news, spread the word. You know, I really care for my people in my social circle, and I ended up getting incredible reports back. I shared this information, they acted on it, and they had success story after success story after success story.
Government agencies too that are now endorsing it, am I correct?
We're still in the early stages, but I presented my information to a regional public health in the Dominican Republic and to a single district here in Dominican Republic. That was very successful, and they were actually treating other doctors with lysine. So I was very happy to help the medical community get back on its feet even. They had used it on, I don't know, approximately 30 people in the first week, and they wrote back high success stories, with some people reporting back as little as a few hours seeing results.
That's interesting. Do you want to talk about the dosage? Let me share the screen here. And
this is the lysine treatment diet and restrictions that is circulating now. It seems to be very effective using these specific doses and diet and restriction from coffee and exercise. I want to tell people that this is not for long haulers, the people, the long-term symptomatics. If you have symptoms over a month and a half, you should cut this dose in half and start very slow and in several day increments.
Can you talk through it? Because I know that it's written quite small. We'll post it, but maybe read through it for everybody.
Yep. Please read the entire document. Consult your primary care physician for medical advice and interactions with any current medication or conditions you currently have. One thing I want to mention, people should take a screenshot if they're interested in this information for referencing. Those who have symptoms after awakening 1 hour before a meal, 1,000 milligrams taken with 2 cups of water. Tablets are preferred to capsules, but not necessarily. 3 p.m., repeat a 1,000 milligram L-lysine, 2 cups of water. Do not eat for 1 hour. This is the first day dose. On the second day, you can actually add 500 milligrams or 1,000 milligrams, depending on if you still have symptoms. Another option of using lysine before bed, which I don't recommend for some people that have energy buildup from lysine, is to take a melatonin. Lysine can interfere with a good night's sleep if taken just before going to bed. Melatonin is great, safe, effective sleep aid, and does help the immune system as well. Next day, repeat the dose, but afternoon dose, if need be, can be moved earlier in the day if symptoms are returning. Most manufacturers actually recommend, and studies have shown that 3,000 milligrams of L-lysine is safe to take daily for 6 months. I urge you not to exceed 3,000 milligrams only in emergencies. At or above 3,000 milligrams per day, 10 to 15% of the people develop a cough. I highly recommend you do not go over 3,000 milligrams. Options are: 1, reduce the dose for the next day by 500 milligrams. You may experience some symptoms due to lack of lysine intake. Option 2, anti-allergic and antihistamine dose daily if you feel that might be an allergic reaction. Quercetin or NAC seem to be very helpful also at controlling the cough in the evening. If you need to counteract the lysine, you can eat 2 ounces of nuts. All nuts have arginine in this, and that's why I tell people not to eat nuts and seeds while having COVID. Be warned, symptoms may return. By day or 2 or day 3, you should have figured out your proper dose and should be near full control of your symptoms. This is the safest way to start the lysine regimen. I also wanted to add that people should be careful with orange juice and other dietary issues. Can you share that slide, please?
Sure.
It really is important to have a diet change. People who are vegetarians actually have a very arginine-rich diet and very little lysine in their intake. Arginine is actually produced by the body. Lysine, you have to consume it. So please be aware that nuts, seeds, orange juice, peanut butter, oats, wheat, all these items have arginine in it, and they will counteract the lysine. The foods that are most preferable to eat that have the highest lysine to arginine ratio is plain yogurt, any cheeses, margarine, dairy, beets with caution, fish, and actually the most important is probably papaya. Papaya is loaded with lysine and good enzymes. There are other foods that you can take in moderation, and please reference this piece of paper, this document, to understand what is important and what is not. Coffee, I keep stressing to people, stay away from coffee, at least for 3 weeks until you are symptom-free and no lysine. Please don't do exercise. Both people report back that they feel bad the next day. So please, let's get through this safe and healthy. Please speak to your doctor if you have liver, kidney, or high calcium levels. Diabetics, they should check their levels. I have one report of a pacemaker, a person who was using lysine as a prophylaxis, and he had a slight reaction of, he felt like he was a little down. He stopped the lysine and he returned back to normal. Prophylaxis, which has been extremely successful so far at this ratio, I want to mention the district health department here. Actually, their entire staff has been using prophylaxis of lysine and no coffee. And in 2.5 months, not a single one has fallen ill. And they have face-to-face exposure every day that they work.
They're not wearing face masks?
They wear face masks, but they're soaked. Literally, they're working in the heat. I feel for them. So they're using inadequate PPE and inadequate procedures. It's hard to stay COVID-free in those kind of conditions. And they have been successful for 2.5 months. And that was about 20 employees and their family members.
Good to hear.
that same district has actually been treating several other districts' doctors who fell ill. They have been giving them lysine, and they have seen positive results. So that was very great to hear that these kind of successes are spreading, even if it has to be a doctor's own experience to see how well lysine works.
That's great. Do you have any more documents you want us to have a look at?
I want to talk about the side effects because this is important. People who have high calcium, and they should not be using lysine for prophylaxis, for prevention. They should be using it only when ill with COVID. Also, a lot of people take zinc supplements due to COVID, and it is beneficial, but I warn people not to take zinc and lysine together. What happens is lysine actually helps your body absorb zinc naturally without supplementation. So after a few days of zinc supplementation with lysine, you should consider quitting them. Diabetics should watch their sugar levels. Is very important because actually lysine helps lower sugar levels after several weeks of use. People should not be taking arginine, citrulline, proline, nitric oxide supplements. These are all contrary to lysine. Lysine can have either a calming effect or, like me, gives you a ton of energy. Unfortunately, I tell people just to stay away for taking a dose within 1 hour of going to bed because it may ruin your sleep. Definitely lysine should not be taken with coffee, as both can give you excess energy, and like I mentioned before, with COVID, coffee is your worst enemy. People on blood pressure medications should actually check their heart rates regularly. Lysine has shown so many times to lower people's blood pressure while with COVID. This is lowering their high blood pressure and taking it back to a much lower normal range. So please, we want to make sure that you keep track of your BP. Only a few adverse effects, allergies has been reported at 3,000 milligrams or above. One person developed a rash, about 10 to 15 people develop a cough. 10 to 15% of those people develop a cough. And actually no reports at 2,500 milligrams or below. So please, respect the 3,000 milligram limit. People who actually use lysine for months for prevention have reported their hair growth and volume has changed incredibly. They were very happy about this. But please, absolutely talk to your physician. Make sure that they know the functionality of lysine and if it has any effect against any medication you are on. Make sure that lysine is the right choice for you.
This is great information. Thank you so much for sharing all of this with us. And I'm sure more information is going to keep coming forward, and it'll give us another opportunity to get together and talk further. And I hope, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Hibberd Health, to those of you watching this video, because you'll be informed whenever a new video comes up. And if you go to the comments section, I know Bo is going to post these documents and you'll have access to this information. And lysine is over the counter, easy to access generally. So I wish everybody good luck, and thank you so much for joining me today. This has been so informative, Bo.
Thank you, Dr. Hibberd.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks everybody for joining us.